So, I had recently a 5-year reunion. This past Saturday, I had it at Fortitude. Great spot there in Wausau, right on Bennington, right off of Bennington. And, it's 5-year reunion. Let me just it's a little bit weird that we had it. But basically, the story goes is we had a great class president. I'll give him a shout out. He did a great job organizing this event, Josh Richardson. We had a great class president back in school. We raised all this dough, man, that we had nothing to spend it on in high school. We had like $5,000 left over. And basically, once 5 years is up, basically all that money just not like it's a bad thing, but it goes back to the school. So selfishly, we're thinking to ourselves like, man, dude, we got this $5,000 just sitting in the bank. Like, let's go have a freaking party of our lives for our 5-year reunion. So that's what we did. So we threw a 5-year reunion. I think we had about 35 people show up, which is not a ton of people, but that's kind of what you expect. I think 5 years out of high school, people still are like, oh, I don't want to see those losers. I'm too cool for that, this, that. Which maybe you don't deal with so much at like a 20-year reunion where everybody's just so happy to see these people they haven't seen in forever. So we go to this 5-year reunion, we're out just kind of chilling out on the back patio, and everyone's having a good time. I got there late, like 3 hours late. I got there at 8. I get there, everybody's having a good time, but people are sort of segmented off, right, into the different tables. There's this table over there, people. There's this table over there, people. There's this table over here, people. Somewhere along the night, after I'd maybe been there for 30 minutes, all of a sudden, I don't know where it came from. A J kind of finds itself for people who are maybe Ted's age that are a little bit buttoned up. That is basically a cigarette that's filled with weed.
I think people my age do realize what a J is.
I don't know. You never know. I don't know what our audience is sometimes, but so
it always comes back to Ted.
For Ted's area of the audience, yeah, that's what that is. So that comes around. Next thing you know, man, it's getting passed around, and next thing you know, all these different tables, it all became one big group. And that was the start. That was when the party really kicked it off. And that's what weed can do for a crew. I mean, people make fun of it, say this or that. Obviously anything, if you do it too much, can become a bad thing, just like alcohol or this or that. But I tell you what, for that night, it really brought together the crew. And after a couple more hours at Fortitude Open Bar, man, I don't know how much I drank there. A good amount. Definitely drank more than my $23 worth. After that, we go. So we all have a whole the whole crew, all 35 people. Go down the road to Corner Pub and finish off the night. And it was just a blast, man. It's funny. It's seeing these people after 5 years. You don't realize, I remember thinking in high school when everybody would tell me, oh, like, enjoy it while you're there, man. You're not going to see these people every day. And I remember thinking, oh, that's not going to be me. We'll still stay in touch. This class is, special. And I do still think we're a very close knit group. But regardless, life just gets in the way. You move all across the state. I mean, I'm in Detroit. I'm hardly ever back in Corona.
That's what happens.
But it's funny seeing everybody, man. You got people who have handlebar mustaches now. They didn't have a shred of facial hair back then. You have, a couple of classmates that have kids now. You have, all these other people doing all these cool stuff. Graduating college, going on cross country trips, Colorado, bringing their girlfriends that they met in college. It was just really quite an experience, and it was just an awesome time. I mean, we had sponsors sponsoring it. Corona Hill sponsored it. Fortitude put on a great event, knocked a couple bucks off the open bar tab. Alec Faber, shout out to him. And it just was a great time. And I'm just wondering what type of experiences you guys have had at your reunions.
I don't know. Do you want to start this off, Ted? Because I've got a long one to add to it.
Yeah, I'll keep mine short. I think the best reunion that my class put together, I think it was 10, it might have been 15. It was actually at a campground between Langsburg and Perry, and it was outdoors, and it was a pig
Sleepy
roast.
Hollow?
No, I can't remember the name of the place, but it was awesome, and it was the same feel that you had, Jared. Everybody's outside having a good time, and then once the doobies came out, everybody really enjoyed the evening. So that was my favorite one. Now I'm old enough to where they kind of pile them in together, and they call them alumni reunions, and they have like 3 or 4 classes highlighted, and then it's invited to all CHS graduates. So I've evolved to that point now, unfortunately. I mean, it's cool to see people.
No, it sucks. It sucks.
Well, you know how it is.
Definitely changes it.
Yeah, but the nice thing about that is, though, also, I didn't just hang with people in my class. Right. I knew the people in the classes ahead of me and after me. So, and then from all these years in this area, I know tons of people. So it's kind of cool. I know everybody Corona related, it seems like.
Right. Yeah, reunions. I've always been one that I've loved it. Whenever I'm back in town, I want to see as many people as possible. It does seem like there's a lot of people, like you said, Jared, that are like I don't ever want to see these clowns again. I want to move away and
I guess
never
I do.
connect with high school.
If you were, if you were bullied or something like that, I totally get it, right? But there are people that, that were my friends or that were, that like girls, popular girls in school that have that sort of mindset. And it's like, what the hell, man?
They think they're like too cool for school type of thing. Too cool. We moved away from Corona. We don't want to go back. It's, something like that. But
it's beneath them.
No, it's funny that, you bring it up, 5-year reunion. Because, right, you think like, especially nowadays, I've talked to some people about this, how reunions have changed because of social media and texting and cell phones and stuff. Like back in the day, I mean, Ted, you can speak to this. I bet reunions were legitimately the first time you'd seen some of these people, even their faces, in 5, 10, whatever the, timeline is. Nowadays with Facebook and texting and, everything else, a 5-year reunion, sometimes it's like, I know what everyone's up to because I see them on Facebook all the time, or I see them on Instagram all the time. So it's not as, but like, back in the day, you would show up to a 10, 15-year reunion, and it probably would be sometimes like, I haven't seen this person in 10 years. They've put on weight, or, maybe they've lost weight, or they look way better than they did in high school or stuff like that. So reunions have definitely changed, I think, in that sense, not necessarily in a bad way, just, different.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, and I was going to ask you this, Jared. Did you take your girlfriend?
Yeah, I did. So it's cool having her see everybody. She seems to believe that just because I was, the quarterback or whatever, that I was like this big jerk in high school. I mean, I don't know, maybe somebody's listening to this and will say that, but I don't think I was. Matt, you were actually, I was at the barbershop. I was talking with one of your fellow classmates, Jake Down. He actually said that you kind of dropped the ball a little bit with this upcoming reunion, whereas in the past you were one of the ringleaders setting it up. Maybe you haven't quite taken up that role this time around.
No, it's in the works. No, and I was going to say it hasn't been publicly. So maybe this is the first public announcement of it. So you brought up the 20-year, like for you, it seems like 20 years is so far away. My 20 year is coming up. Wow. So yeah, next year, 2023 will be our 20 years. So my thought was my grand plan. So first, let me tell this. So we had an 11-year reunion. We were going to do it in the 10th year, but like some stuff happened. And so it had to get canceled. So we were like, whatever, who cares? Let's just do it in the 11th year. No one really cares anymore. And I always credit my wife. I kind of organized it, and it was my excuse to get together with my wife because we graduated together. And I always credit our reunion as what got our reunited relationship going, because otherwise I lived out in Connecticut at the time. She was still in Owasso or whatever. Like, what was my excuse to like bump into her at Meyer and like spark up a conversation? So I organized a reunion and forced it to happen. But anyway,
you showed up to this reunion on the prowl.
Yeah.
That's 100%. Awesome, man.
100%. Yeah, talked her up a little bit, got her number, and the rest is history from there. So yeah, 20 years is coming up. So my big idea, and I think it'd be pretty cool. I gotta talk to your dad about this, Jared. But like you mentioned, bunch of people have kids now, and I think it'd be cool to go to Elsa Meyer and have like a 2-part reunion. Have the first part be at Elsa Meyer where anyone can come, but if you have kids, bring your kids, play on all the toys that we all grew up playing on. Let the kids play, have like pizza, whatever, like light stuff, in the afternoon, and then move it on probably to like Fortitude or Wrought Iron Grill.
I mean, isn't Alec Faber a part of your class?
Yeah.
I would think that Fortitude would probably be the natural selection.
It's a no-brainer. But, like if he didn't want to do it at his place of business, I would understand that. I'm sure he'd be fine with it. But, and then, later have the adult version. Hopefully everyone has like babysitters or something, and you can drop the kids off and everyone come out and have a good time. Because that's what our first one, that 11-year one, it was at, it was before he opened Fortitude, but it was in the same spot. We basically put up a tent, got a bunch of kegs. We were playing flip cup. We were playing beer pong. We were playing cornhole. It was just like a big Corona party out in the field until we ordered Domino's at like 11 at night. They brought like 30 pizzas out, and it was just a good time. Kind of same as what you said. Our class, yes, people have moved to different states or even just around the state of Michigan, but for the most part, like, we've stayed pretty close. So it's kind of, hearing Jake Down say that, it makes me even more want to move forward with this, because I think that's what it takes. We talked about it with Faster Horses, when you and your friends were going, it always takes like someone to do it. Yeah. Everyone wants to do this stuff, but someone or 2 or 3 people have to like get the ball rolling. start making reservations, get a date out there well in advance so people can make plans. So Jake, if you're listening, the ball has not been dropped.
Now, this is 20 coming up, and you had a really good class athletically. Has there been thoughts in your mind about like a Friday golf outing, to tie into a reunion weekend?
Yeah, we were going to try and do something like that, or it's been thrown out anyway. Yeah, right. Going probably, to Corunna Hills on Friday, see if people want to golf, and then Saturday would be the actual reunion or whatever. I actually wanted to throw out one of the first home games this year for Corunna, if the field actually gets finished and everything.
That'd be cool.
Seeing if a bunch of the football guys wanted to get together, because it'd be the 20th anniversary of our 9-0 regular season, the last undefeated regular season in Corunna's football. But if it was like unofficial, it could be like an unofficial thing. It doesn't have to be like some big official event, but just like hitting up a bunch of dudes and being like, hey, y'all want to come back, to the Nick, see the new field, and then we can all get together and shoot the shit.
There's easy tie-in. You just shoot a message to the head coach. Probably love to have you guys go give a pregame speech an hour before in the old locker room.
Seeing as the head coach was our head coach.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how you get the boys rallied to go to that. But yeah, it just bring it full circle. I mean, I'm already looking forward to the 10-year. It's a great time, great excuse to just go and kind of let it rip. And it's fun. It was just cool hearing what everybody's up to. I know that's kind of cliche to say, but yeah, it's just.
I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but like again, bringing up this vacation, I think I brought it up last week when my mother-in-law had a party for family and we invited a bunch of friends and a decent group of people came out that I hadn't seen in a while. It's just something about like the people you grew up with, even if it's people I haven't seen in 10 years, 15 years, you just like fall back into like how it was when you were in high school or middle school. Maybe that's not the same for everyone. And maybe that's why I'm like, thankful for the class, the group of people that I grew up with. But, you get together with those people and it's just like you're back,
transported back to
2002 and you're just talking about whatever. And now you got some kids running around and stuff, but
yeah, you got all that good stuff to talk about. My crew, it's, hey, how's your hip doing? Did you get your hip replaced? How's the prostate hanging? Oh man, sorry to hear about that. I mean, it's a true fact, which is depressing. But when you do get to be my age, conversations when you go out with friends, all of a sudden, I don't know why it does it, but it shifts to how your medical status is.
Well, I mean, ours a lot has shifted to kids, and we've said that, like, we're all hanging out and we're like, why the hell? All we're talking about is our damn kids.
Right?
Can we like just talk about parties? At least you, Jared, you're kind of still in that age a little bit.
100%. No doubt.
I mean, I'm even starting to feel that, man. It's just the older you get, and like I'm thinking about, Faster Horses is coming up this weekend, but a lot of people talk about it. It's hilarious to me how the fact that I'm not going, it almost feels like that event is not even taking place. Whereas back in the day, when we would have those summer trips to Faster Horses, it felt like the whole summer revolved around it.
Right.
And everybody was talking about it, and it was the biggest thing in the world that weekend. And it's just funny. I was like debating it with my roommate, basically like, I don't even know if I would want to go back there. It's just like, I feel like once I hit out of the college age, it's me, like, I'm just going to go walk around this infield and like party. It's depressing to even think about walking those hallowed grounds anymore. Because you're not what you once were, man. You really aren't.
And think
it's all
about
the group you were with. If you're with a solid group of friends, then you'd still have a good time. It would be different, sure, but
right.
But we're talking 5 years, only 5 years from high school.
I was gonna say, man,
dude. I mean, you guys look at that and probably think like, "Oh, you're crazy," but that's just how I feel. I feel like I've aged 20 years in these 5 years, man.
Yeah, a work career where you put in the hours you do, it'll do that.